I have to say, this feels surreal for me. I'm a regular Mass goer at the same time to this feast, but I celebrate Masses for the feast like A1 with Brother Adrian and in Galleria, and it's my first time to celebrate Mass here at the plenary hall. But several years ago, my sister dragged me to my very first feast at Camp Aguinaldo, when back then it was, I guess, just once a month. And then it moved to Valle Verde until it came all the way to PICC. And if somebody told me that one day I would come back to this venue and be the main celebrant, I would have said, I think that's not possible. But then I guess with God, all things are possible. One of the main reasons why I enjoy celebrating Mass in a feast like this, it's because everyone is so into the whole celebration. There is full, active, and conscious participation. And so after several years of not having returned here, I would like to test that again. I only have 2 questions for you. Let's see how great you respond to this. It's easy. All you need to do is raise your hand. My first question is, who among you here would like to go to heaven and meet the Lord? Raise your hand. Of course, everyone would want to, right? Do you know what my next question would be? Advance yata kayo mag-isip? My next question is, who would want to make that happen right after this Mass? Raise your hand. What happened to the hands that were high up with my first question? I guess I have to ask the third one. Why not? Right? Why not now? When we talk about the end of days or the end of our days, as human beings, whether we admit it or not, whether how faithful we are or not, there is always fear that we experience. When we talk about the end of days, it is not easy to approach it. And especially with our readings today, the apocalyptic theme of our readings, it shakes us out of our comfort zone because it is not easy to reflect on it. And yet, there is only one thing that is certain in our life, and that is our end of day will come, whether we like it or not. It is simply a matter of how prepared we are. You know, one of the things that a lot of us experience in life, and we have a saying for this in Tagalog, laging nasa huli ang pagsisisi. Regret is a feeling that always haunts us. Regret is a feeling that we all share in common. You know, as a priest, I have ministered to a lot of people who have lost their loved ones. And almost every single time, I always hear regret. That words when people say, I wish, Father, I spent more time with my mom or my dad. I wish I said, I love you. I wish I gave in more of my time and energy into building the relationship. Regret is always painful. But we know the antidote to regret. What is it? Our readings today is the antidote for regret. It is preparedness. It is vigilance. It is proper discernment. You know, as children of God in our journey of faith, when we are prepared in our journey every single day of our lives, the less we regret certain situations. It is like a student always preparing for class every day, knowing that one day the teacher might have a surprise quiz. For a prepared student, that surprise quiz will never put a stress on that person's life. But for the rest who do not study, it is quite stressful. So, as we go through our journey of faith, knowing that part of our reality is that death is inevitable, what are we doing with the very gift of our present life? You know, when we are young, when we are still able to get up and walk around, it is so easy to forget that we are not invincible. And yet, we know from our readings today that our day could come at any time. You know, in my own experience, I know my mom is here right now and she doesn't know this. And I thought, well, this is a great way for her to know in a big venue like this. You know, about 7 or 8 years ago, just shortly before I got ordained a priest, I was preparing to come home to the Philippines for my spring break. And so on an Easter, no, not Easter, but on Black Saturday for Easter Vigil, I was preparing to go to Mass because on Easter Sunday, I would be flying to the Philippines for spring break. As I was driving to the cathedral along with a brother seminarian, I see on the crossing in one of the downtown streets that this lady in a big SUV was probably texting. She was going about 45 or 50 miles an hour on a 35-mile speed limit. And so I saw her coming my way on that crossroad. So I stepped on the gas because I knew if I didn't do it, she would have T-boned me and that would have been disastrous. So I tried as much as I could to step on the accelerator and go faster. Nevertheless, she still rear-ended me. The car spun around maybe 2 or 3 times. Tires flew. And I was shocked when the car stopped. I was shocked to realize that I was still alive. And then it dawned on me that my life could have ended right at that very moment. Thanks be to God, I'm still here, able to share that story. But that particular experience really taught me that life could end at any time. Good thing if that happened, in my mind I thought, at least I was on my way to Mass for Easter Vigil. But if it happened at any other time when I wasn't on my way to Mass, would I have been prepared to meet my Creator? That is what the challenge of the readings present us with today. How prepared are we to meet our Creator? You know, the very reason why insurance companies is one of the biggest in the industry is because it teaches people to prepare for the unexpected. Now, I was reading this wonderful article about insurance in the Philippines, and it has reached new heights of achievement last year in 2017. Do you know how much it is worth now? It's 320 billion pesos, with assets of more than 1.6 trillion pesos. Why is it selling so much? The selling point for insurance companies is that it gives us peace of mind. It covers us for anything that is unexpected. As insurance companies would promote, it covers you from womb to tomb, right? We hear that saying all the time. But there is one other insurance company that is so much better than that, and that is our Christian faith. Because it doesn't only cover from womb to tomb, it covers from conception to resurrection. And what is the good news with this? The good news is that it is free. All we need to do is approach the Lord with open hearts and open minds. Truly welcome His presence that brings about the preparedness that we need in our lives. What are we doing to prepare for that eventual reunion with the Father? You know, as a priest, about a few months ago, I celebrated Mass in one of these little chapels. And there was a great sign in the sacristy to help the priest prepare for Mass. And I thought to this day, that has been useful for me. Especially on some Sundays when I have 8 Masses. It is hard to stay fresh all the time with my sermons and the celebration of the Eucharist. But with that great reminder, I keep that in mind because it says, priest of Jesus Christ, when you celebrate Mass, celebrate it as if it were your first, your last, and your only Mass. And that really put things in perspective for me. And that's what I want to share with all of you. That as we wake up each day, we should treat that day as if it were our first, our last, and our only day. And for sure, when we have that kind of disposition, we will approach life in a different light. We will live better we will live life to the fullest, full of hope and joy that one day we will look forward to the resurrection of the dead. You know, vigilance and preparedness is all about paying attention. Right after this homily, we will profess our faith. How many of us have paid attention to the words, "And I look forward to the resurrection of the dead"? As children of God, we should look forward to that. It is not something to be fearful of. Rather, we approach our own death with joyful and hopeful anticipation, knowing that we will be welcomed into the loving arms of the Lord. Please stand. I believe
In one God, the Father Almighty, maker of